Hey y'all, thanks for joining us today. Today is going to be a real serious topic here. It's chemical trespass, and it's super important that we all pay attention to this because it's a really, really serious problem. Um, we are with Mike Schmidt today, and he's showing us around his farm, Green Acres. uh, Barnwood Mike is what we like to call him. He is showing us here one of his old growth oaks that is by his barn. And you can see that there's some curled leaves on this tree, but also some new leaves. And what happens is in the spring when it's sprayed, um, these herbicides they drift and they hit the trees and it damages the leaves, and then those trees can't photosynthesize, so the tree doesn't get the energy. um, then what happens is that old or first leaf growth kind of just dies off, and then the tree puts out new leaves if it can, if it has the energy to. Saplings and seedlings often die when that happens because they just don't have the energy to put out new leaves. But here he's going to give us a tour around his farm and talk about this issue. And I really hope everybody pays attention. It's going to be a long video, but it's really an important video that people should watch, because imagine a world where we don't have these big giant oak trees to keep our houses cool in the summer, provide shade, soil health, water retention. Um, Oaks are just really important for our canopies and for our existence. Um, so sit tight, enjoy the video, leave comments, tell us what you think. We'd like to hear all opinions. There is no wrong opinion, uh, but thank you for joining us. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today at People versus Chemical Trespass. I'm here with Mike Schmidt. He is a co-creator of the page and the YouTube channel. The Facebook page is People versus Chemical Trespass. You could check this out there or on YouTube. So that's Mike Schmidt, and he will tell you a little bit about his story here.
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks for coming out and taking some time to document the problem here at the farm. I've got a tree here, one of many hundreds of trees that this spring got sprayed when the farm just to the east of us was spraying herbicide to burn down the weeds. And the problem you can see on this oak tree here, if you can see these leaves, let me go over to this one here because here's a real good example. This is a normal leaf. This is how all the leaves on this tree should look. Large, flat, healthy. This leaf has shot out since the herbicide damage. So when the herbicide contacts the leaves that are present at the time of the spray are the ones that are damaged. And if you can see, they're very they're closed up. This is called strapping. They're elongated, they're flat, they're twisty. None of these are really cupped or curled. They also call this like cobra heading when they start to curl over. So you can see the majority of the leaves on this tree, and even if you look up into the tree canopy, are damaged. So what this does is it stunts the tree. I think it prevents the tree from photosynthesizing, which prevents the tree from growing, which prevents the tree from being healthy and able to fight disease and be resistant to insects and put on size this year. So this tree here, the tree back here, Dennis, is also damaged. If we can take a little walk into the brush here, and we look up in this tree, these ones you can really see. This is a red oak, where that is a white oak. This is affected a little differently. You can really see the dark green where the growth regulator of the herbicide hit the edges of the leaf, stopping the leaf from growing, and then the inside of the leaf is trying to grow out, so it causes it to curl under. This red oak tree was hit last year. It's got a tag on it. We did a tree inventory. I had an arborist out, and this is tree 184. The ring is starting to get sucked into the wood, which means this tree is growing a little bit this year. But one thing that happened from last year is it got hit by the same herbicide, caused a lot of damage, and now we got a lot of dead wood, bare branches that should be bearing leaves, and they're not.
And you can see right here, there's a new branch sprouting out.
Yeah.
And
we got another white oak right to the left here. These leaves as well, damaged from this spring from herbicide drift. And I don't know if you want to take a pause and we'll continue.
Sure. You want to tell them about your farm here and
sure,
a little
absolutely.
bit about it?
So my farm here is named Green Acres. It's an 80-acre farmstead. I've got roughly 65 acres of hardwood plantation, native deciduous trees. I also do have a stand of cypress and pine. We've got a large pond in the center of the property, stocked with fish. And then we have a 15-acre parcel out to the front of the property that is tillable crop, and we have an organic producer operating it, and he is growing wheat this year that's about ready to harvest. A portion of this property is in the Conservation Reserve Program, and so it is federally subsidized to keep it out of being cropland. So we have trees in that area, and then we also have a few acres that are in native pollinator habitat. Last week being Pollinator Week in the US, we were very happy to celebrate that and see our little pollinators out and about. But unfortunately, our pollinator habitat area also was hit by herbicide drift, and a lot of the plants are very unhappy. And this is where I live. Part of it being Conservation Reserve Program. We're also a voluntary member of the Illinois Acres for Wildlife. So our intention with our wooded property is to provide a place for wildlife, nature, birds, and just conservation.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Not the typical farm.
Right.
You know, we're not making a ton of money here, producing corn and beans, and but we're just getting started. We were fortunate enough to take the property over in pretty much the condition it's in, and we're just trying to improve it and improve our woodlands and the health of the property. And we're trying to prevent our trees from being damaged and our wildlife from being sacrificed by damaging of our environment. So our concern with chemical trespass and this herbicide drift seems to be pretty widespread, and I think we need to spread awareness and connect with those out there that are having trouble, such as Dennis and Annie at Wrought Iron Farm in Beecher, which is, I'm in Moni, Illinois. They're a neighboring town, so let's continue our tour.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. This is, you guys are awesome. This is a great place, and I hope we could just shed some awareness. And, you know, it's not that we're against, like, the way other people farm. It's just, we think that we should not be trespassed upon with their chemicals, you know. It's...
Fully agree. You know, and when I've spoke to the farmers, the applicators, operators around me that have sprayed and that their product has drifted onto my property, and you know, they've been doing this method for a while. They're not fully aware of why it's happening. I don't think it's anything that they're doing wrong. I think it's you know, my understanding is it's the materials that they're using, the chemicals they're using are just volatile. And, you know, we're having really hot weather this spring. I mean, June was really hot, and, you know, sunny, windy area, you know, those things combined with spray application causes the stuff to volatilize. It just moves off target, and then it's landed on your farm, my farm, and, you know, all the residences around us that, you know, they're unaware of it.
And the crazy thing about it, I haven't even told you about this yet, Mike. With our farmers that are right next door to us, I ended up talking to both the farmers that farm all the land, like on all four sides of us. They said that they have documentation, everything saying when they sprayed, and our damage is before they sprayed. So they said that they found us on Drift Watch, and they knew that we were there, and they were, you know, made sure that the wind was blowing away from our farm when they sprayed. And they sprayed, the one guy just sprayed like 2 weeks ago. So we've had damage for over a month, and the other guy said he was probably about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
So they said that whoever's spray, that's what was killing weeds in their field as well.
That's some heavy solution of herbicide if it's drifting that far and killing weeds, and they're not even spraying on that field.
Right.
Wow.
And then killing our flowers and our hazelnut trees and all that.
I saw you were in the Southtown Daily newspaper yesterday. I was as well.
Yep.
On our co-article, and I read that you had said the farms directly, you know, bordering your farm couldn't be the culprits because of timing. Yeah. And I hadn't heard that before today, so that was a question I had for you.
Yeah, and they have, like, man, they're farming a lot of acres right there. The farm across the street from me is like 180 acres, and then all around me, it's all farmed by the same two guys. So that's some serious drift right there to float over that, hit our farm in the center of them, hit their farms, kill weeds there, you know, stunt our flower growth, stunt our, you know, kill off our hazelnuts, our elderberries, killed our oak trees, because our, you know, a little bit about us, not to take away from Mike here, but we have a 10.5 acre farm, and we just bought it last year, and it was conventional corn and soybeans, and we're right in the center of corn and soybeans, and we put in a bunch of trees, and they were all like saplings, all small, probably 2 foot to 3 foot tall, and hardly anything made it this year. And we had a state inspector come out and take samples, so we're still waiting on that, but that's our story. So, but
yeah, yeah, there's lots to talk about. I think we're going to have many sessions here, but yeah. So I've been here a few years, and I noticed it the first year. I noticed the damage to my trees, but I didn't know what it was. And then I started talking to friends, local nurserymen. Hey, what's going on? And they, you know, enlightened me as to what herbicide drift was and the symptomology of seeing it and identifying it in trees. And there are other things that can have a similar look to it, but you know, when you see an application of herbicide going on and then, you know, within a week you see your leaves change on your tree. It's pretty easy to put two and two together. Last year, I witnessed the applicator across the street, which is 190 acres that they run there. They were out spraying on a day that was very windy out of the south. I'm directly to the north, so it was windy, there was high gusts, and it was hot. And those are those two things they shouldn't have been spraying. The Illinois Department of Agriculture's report that I got back listed that applicator as negligent to the product label. So in that case, they did a no-no. They shouldn't have been spraying, but you know, they were trying to get their job done. There's a very limited window to get the spray done, you know, so you can get your plants in the ground, and I get it, they got to get their job done, but if, you know, they don't follow those labels, the repercussions are they cause damage to other people's property that they didn't maybe intend to, but, you know, not following the safety precautions that are listed on the product ultimately is going to end up in somebody having a problem somewhere. And that's what happened to me last year. I'm still, you know, still seeing damage from last year and trying to close that chapter, but now 2022 we've got damage again. So like on these trees here, they were hit last year, they're hit again, so now we've got like this cumulative effect where I'm, you know, just curious what's going to happen. Again, the reason like this tree is tagged 184 is so that I can come back and monitor it. I know now it's been hit 2 years in a row, 2 different applications. You know, potentially it's been hit further back than that, but again, I wasn't aware of it, so I didn't know what to look for, but now I can keep my eye on it. And you know, if this tree isn't alive next year, I'm gonna, in my personal opinion, blame herbicide drift. You know, hopefully that doesn't happen, and hopefully the tree's strong enough to survive, but there's a lot of concern, and there's not a lot of documentation or research out there that I've been able to find that you know, explains cumulative effects of repeated herbicide damage.
Mike, how old would you say 184 here is?
I would say that tree's probably anywhere 15 to 18 years old.
Wow.
So from acorn to where it's at now, it takes quite a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and this is a younger planting area on the property. My oldest trees here are gonna be from the mid 70s. Now up by the house, the original farmstead, you know, trees are anywhere 1880s, 1890s. There's some old trees there, you know, the original 5 acres. But this was all corn and beans that had been hand planted in trees, and now has just, you know, now there's actually just new regenerative growth that's coming up on its own. So new oak trees, a lot of invasives in here that I got to work to get out of here. Honeysuckle and autumn olive and buckthorn, to name a few. You know, this walnut behind you here, this is something that's come up from a walnut that probably a squirrel put in. Anyway, ash tree there that's actually doing okay. That's a green ash. The white ash here are pretty much wiped out. Then we got some white pines back there. But if we stand here, there's a row of oaks. You know, 184 is in the middle of this row, and those were the planted trees that were put in the CRP program at some point. So,
beautiful.
Thanks. See, like, these all got hit, and they're a little taller. You see all these oaks up here, they look very angry.
Yeah, they don't look very green and happy.
You look at this oak tree here.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just wonky. This is a tree that the state took a sample of this year. I put a ribbon on it. We took samples. Will took samples of this, and then this is also tree 161 that I tagged last year.
Tree.
This is 143. 139 is a green ash that looks pretty good last year, but got sprayed and was pretty damaged last year. 125. Burnt necrotic crispy tissue leaves. Cupped.
Hang in there, 125.
$123. Dead wood, but looks pretty good. Camera technology. And here's a little oak tree that. Oop. Minor damage. Field up that way where it came from. So we were just on the other side of the wheat field, right?
Yep.
There's the culprit. Herbicide applicator over there.
How does the wheat not get affected?
I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know that it isn't. So these walnut trees here, the last year the spray was straight out of the field. Like all these walnut trees in here now, like all these branches are bare. It's a lot of bare branches that weren't bare last year, and these didn't produce any walnuts last year. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16. There's at least 20 black walnuts right here. None of them had seed on it. And now this year they have thin canopies and dead leaves, or dead limbs.
And I don't see any seeds either.
You're right. There's no walnuts. Year 2, no walnuts. And yeah, some years they have them, some years they don't. This is a big tooth aspen that died, and then I cut it off because otherwise the deer ripped it out of the ground, and it didn't do that. This is a hop hornbeam, also known as ironwood. The drift killed the top of the tree.
Possibility place.
Oh, it's a great nursery. This little white oak that killed the top of the tree, so now it's soft. This little oak just stunted, and it's not growing. Another tree got hit last year, not doing well this year. Got hit last year, not doing real well this year. Here's a tulip tree that I planted December 12th, 2020. That was my birthday. And it was a warm, it was like 60 degrees on my birthday on December 12th.
Wow.
It got hit with spray last year, herbicide, 2,4-D, and it got hit again this spring. So, see the size of this leaf? It's a happy leaf. It's a little abnormally large. The leaves that were out when it got hit this year, smaller, curled up, not real turgent, crispy, you know, not happy leaves. The new leaves are happy, so I think it's gonna pull through, but that's 2 years in a row it's been hit. Possibility Place Nursery, Moni, Illinois. Good place to get your natives. The tulip tree.
good people to deal with.
So this is a Serbian Bruns spruce. We got it because this is our 10-year anniversary tree that we planted. But it's got its cones, and so I want to try and propagate those and grow them.
Beautiful.
Now the rhubarb patch is not looking real happy there. Aw, puppies. Okay.
Drive past your own houses.
Will do. Each one of these is 3.5 full cords of firewood. We heat with wood off our property here.
That is so cool.
The old corn crib, that's our heatery. Woodshed. So yeah, these trees up here, the Calvins, maples, they're much older than everything else on the property.
That's your workout tire?
That's my cucumber tire.